Hello, everyone. I'm Weijia Jiang in Washington. Tonight on America Decides, Trump in retreat. The Dow rebounds for a second day after the White House signals a potential U-turn on tariffs placed on China. And the president says he has, quote, no intention of firing Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell.
Every country wants to partake, even countries that have ripped us off for many, many years. China is an example. We are going to have a fair deal with China. It's going to be fair.
Elon's empire in trouble. Musk says he is reducing his role with the Department of Government Efficiency after Tesla reports a huge drop in profit and sales. How politics is playing a major role in the plunge. In demanding answers, a district judge sets a new deadline for questions about the deportation case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The demand for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem to answer questions as the administration continues to stonewall the judicial process. Let's start tonight with Finn Gómez and Caitlin Huey-Burns. Finn, Caitlin, great to see you both. So we heard today from the Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. I want to play a little bit about what he had to say about tariffs.
America first does not mean America alone. To the contrary, it is a call for deeper collaboration and mutual respect among trade partners.
This seems like the message has evolved a little bit. Extremely polite, extremely inclusive of what other countries want. This is not what we were hearing when Trump made his big announcement on Liberation Day. What happened?
Well, I think the markets happen. I think exactly what I think by any means that is a major metric that the president always looks at. He has, and he did when the first go around, and he does now. And I think what you're seeing, the shift in tone, shift in rhetoric, this tenor shift is due to that. And also, also the dollar is also dropping. And, and if you look at what the base has been asking for is our results. And have they seen any results? Have there been any deals? And so far, we haven't seen that, Weijia.
Yeah. Right. And the administration insists that the deals are in the works. But to your point, Finn, none have been finalized. So, Caitlin, I wonder what else is going on here, because from the beginning, we wondered, is this just a strategy to get people to the table, or is he all in on tariffs?
Right. That was such a big question about what the message actually was. And remember a few weeks ago when they said, OK, we're putting a 90-day pause on all of these tariffs except for those retaliatory tariffs, except for on China. And everybody seemed to breathe a big sigh of relief from Capitol Hill across the country. But that belied the fact that there were still these huge tariffs on China. And so there already is an impact. I mean, you all have been doing reporting on small businesses across the country that have had to already accommodate for this trade war that has erupted now between the U.S. and China. So even though there is this pause across the country, there is this direct war with China, which affects American consumers. I mean, to your point about the base, I just got back from North Carolina and Georgia on a reporting trip, checking in with Trump voters about how they're feeling about things. Everybody who voted for him that I talked to, very supportive, but they are very nervous about tariffs, saying, essentially, I hope he knows what he's doing. I trust him, but I hope he knows what he's doing, because this looks a little bit scary.
Yeah.
And that apprehension has also been coming from, the pressure has been coming from some other major stakeholders that we have seen. We can confirm, CBS can confirm, that the CEOs of Walmart and Target, in a meeting earlier this week with the president, basically said, look, if this continues, they warned that there will be empty shelves soon because of the stoppage in shipping and other manufacturing that could impact consumers in the next couple of weeks.
Right, because it's so expensive. I mean, so much is imported from China. So when you're talking about tariffs at that rate, it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around what that means when I go try to spend money. Okay, guys, I want to turn to Elon Musk, because we always knew he was going to leave, right, soon, because he's a special government employee and he can only work for 130 days. And he just made this announcement to say, I'm going to take a step back from DOGE, focus more on Tesla because it's not doing really well. I guess both things can be true, right, at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, it is the law. He has 130 days from January 20th, whether that's working days or calendar days. Still, that has to come to an end unless Trump essentially signs him on again, right? But it does come against the backdrop of Tesla's stock, which has been plummeting. There have been all sorts of attacks on Tesla. And then, just on the grassroots level, we're hearing this around town halls across the country, that people are very upset with him. But the thing is that DOGE still exists, and he says that he's kind of planning to step away, but not entirely. And so DOGE, if you look at the administration, what they've done so far has been the most effective, however you see it on both sides. Like, they are the ones that have been making these drastic cuts, effective in terms of how Trump sees it, right? So it still exists, even if Elon Musk diminishes his role in it.
You know, by some estimates, Elon Musk, the richest man the world has, lost a lot of money, a considerable amount of money, is upwards of $150 billion. Some reports claim, but also he's a special government employee. To your point, like those 130 days. But one question we have to ask is the administration adherent to those rules and that structure? Also, in that same investors call, Elon Musk said that he was going to keep involved in some manner until 2029. To the end of the Trump term. So let's see what happens.
Well, and let's see how the actual cabinet members feel about his departure, maybe making some more space for them to shine, because he sucked up a lot of oxygen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I want to turn lastly, before we let you go, to Ukraine, because obviously last week the president said he agreed with Secretary Rubio, who said, look, if we don't decide what we're going to do in a couple of days, we're just going to walk away. And the vice president pretty much echoed that. Can you guys bring us up to speed on what he said about Ukraine negotiations?
Yeah, and I mean, he did say earlier this week that he expected Russia to really commit to some sort of deal this week, and it's it's now we're now Wednesday. We haven't seen it. We do have this upcoming trip coming up in Saudi. Let's see if anything happens. But so far, there's been a lot of fluidity here, and again, there's been a point where people have to ask, where are the results here? This is again someone who campaigned as you covered him, throughout the political cycle. He said that he was going to end this war on day one. Yeah,
and experts we were talking to last week were saying, look, that was always such an unrealistic promise, obviously. But just the threat of pulling out of these negotiations already incentivizes Russia. If the U.S. is saying, hey, we may not be involved, what is the incentive for Russia to stay at the table here? And we don't know exactly what the parameters of any kind of deal are at this point. I've been pressing NSC about that, and they won't give them. But we do know that the idea that Russia is any kind of delay in all of this, or the U.S. saying, hey, we may not be involved, benefits Russia.
Yeah, well, he's apparently losing patience, but he's also very invested in making a deal, so we'll see what happens. Ben Gómez and Kaylin Huey-Burns, thank you both so much.